Everybody loves a cinnamon roll. Well, most everybody. I'm going to show you how to make cinnamon rolls. Okay, for the cinnamon roll dough, you need 1/4 cup of room temperature water, 1/4 cup of melted butter, half a package or 1/4 cup of vanilla pudding mix, 1 cup of warm water between 114 and 119 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 room temperature egg, a tablespoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 4 cups of flour, that's 1, and 2½ teaspoons of yeast. There is an order to the way you put the ingredients into the bread maker pan. You need to put all of the wet stuff on the bottom, and then the yeast goes on the very top so that they don't activate each other until it's mixed together. So we'll start with the 1/4 cup of room temperature water, the 1/4 cup of melted butter, the cup of warm milk, the room temperature egg, which I'm going to do with one hand, hopefully I don't get a bunch of shells in there. Let's see. The pudding mix, spread it around a little bit. The half package of pudding mix. A tablespoon of sugar, salt, and 1 2 3 4 cups of white flour and 2½ teaspoons of yeast on top. Put the pan into the bread machine and put it on the dough cycle. Shut the lid, push start, and it preheats, it warms all the stuff in the bottom of the pan up so it's the right temperature, so when the yeast gets down to the water or the liquids, it's the right temperature to start the rising process. If you're doing the cinnamon roll dough in the bread maker, this does the whole thing. It does the kneading and the blending and all of those things, except it doesn't cook in here. So when it is done with the kneading and the blending, I will open it and show you how big the dough ball is. So when the rising is done, you can see how much bigger it is. I forgot to show you when it first started. It's already into the rise, but it's not all the way done. I'll show you when it's completely finished. This is the completed, almost full, after the rise pan of bread dough. I'm trying to make this as straight as possible. You can see it, it's not that simple. So that I can make a straight cinnamon roll that won't have things hanging off on this side and like that's as far as the cinnamon roll can go. So that'd be sticking out and that'd be sticking out. If you roll it this way, you'll have big fat cinnamon rolls, but you won't have very many. If you roll it this way, you'll have little tiny cinnamon rolls, but you'll have the whole length to cut them. I'm done rolling it out. You can see that it's gotten better here. It's not completely straight, but it's pretty good. You can see how thick it is. It's not very thick. If you get it too thick, then it won't cook. Then it'll be doughy. If you get it too thin, then they'll be dry and hard. So this is pretty good. Now I'm going to rub butter over the whole thing, and I think I'm going to use a butter knife because it's not room temperature enough. If you get the butter room temperature enough, it'll just spread right on there. This one hasn't been out long enough, so it's a little bit too stiff to just rub right on. So I'm going to put butter over this whole thing, and then I'll put cinnamon and sugar on. Going to put brown sugar and cinnamon over the whole thing and then roll it up. You want to have a good layer of it. You don't want to be too thick, but you don't want it to be too thin, so get a good layer on it so that you can't see the dough through it. Pick any of the hard pieces out. Get it as close to the edge as you can so you don't have cinnamon rolls with no sugar in it. That's what the cinnamon looks, the brown sugar looks like. Now just sprinkle the cinnamon. Give it a good thick dose. I like a lot. You might not, so judge for yourself what you want to put on it. But look, I put quite a lot on there. Okay, so we want to have a lot of little ones, we've decided. So I'm going to roll it this way, and then we have all this length to cut cinnamon rolls out of. This is sometimes pretty hard to do. Get it to go just right so that it's tight enough that it doesn't just unwind when you're ready to cut it. Gotta pull it back and keep it as tight as you can. Keep pulling it back. If you feel it's too loose, pull on it and pull it back a little bit. Tighten it up. So that it's tight when you get it all rolled up. Ooh, it's sticky. Okay. That's a little bit better. It's too loose. Okay, now we're going to use a piece of string. This is just regular sewing string. Get you a pretty big piece off. Make sure you have your pan ready. Put a little bit of butter on my pan, and you put your string underneath. The dough, crisscross it and use it to pinch the dough off. I'm going to put that one aside. That one's kind of no sugar in it. And depending on how thick you want them, if you make them too thin, then they're not, and they get dry and they're not very fluffy. So I usually do them about 1.5 inches. You want to put them pretty close together. They have to rise again. So just keep doing that until you're done with the whole length, which is going to take me a long time. I'll come back when I'm done. I'll show you the pan. The cinnamon rolls are on the pan. I didn't have enough to finish that pan. In fact, I changed from that great big pan to the smaller one, and I still didn't fill it up. I have a bread-proof button on my oven. It makes the oven 100 degrees so it can rise the dough. Keep it at an even temperature. I'm going to put the cinnamon rolls in the oven to rise for 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes is done, and I'm going to look to see. Yep, they're done. They've doubled in size, and now I'm going to pull them out and let them sit up here a while. The oven is preheating to 350 degrees. In the meantime, I will start the glaze. Okay, so now we're making the glaze. In the bowl is 3 cups of powdered sugar. To that, I am going to add 3 tablespoons of softened butter. It's just room temperature butter. And I have a half a cup of milk here, but I'm going to do it as I go because I've never made this, I've never measured it before. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll see what I need. Too fast. Okay, now we're gonna add, I have 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, maple extract. I don't know if that'll be enough, but that's what we're gonna add and taste it. And if I need to, I'll add some actual maple syrup. I only used about less than a quarter cup of the milk, it looks like. You don't want it to be too runny. Doesn't really need that much milk. Taste it. I think I'll add all of the maple extract, 2 tablespoons. That's pretty good. Okay, now the cinnamon rolls have risen more because I left them on top of the stove, which was hot, and I'm going to put them in the oven now for 20 minutes. I put them on for 20 minutes. Still 7 minutes left. They're a little browner than I usually have them, which is crazy because there's still 7 minutes left. We're going to put the frosting on them now. Okay. Spatula. And get the first one out.